So I have 2 International Scissor Sharpeners Association certifications to look at, and I thought you might like to go with me as I evaluate these shears. I'll have a convex and a bevel shear. And the International Scissor Sharpeners Association is an organization for sharpeners. It's been around for a number of years, and it is truly international. These 2 happen to be from the United States. And we look at a convex edge, or I do, and a beveled edge. These are both shears that I've damaged. I know exactly how the shears should cut. And we look at them and see whether they're a competent sharpener, and then they are certified. Now, you can be a member of the International Scissor Sharpeners Association without certification. And it's a one-time thing. One-time membership for a lifetime, one-time certification for a lifetime. Totally subjective. Not like the other organizations that have a double blind and they don't know who sharpened them. I know who sharpened them. I damaged them. And if you don't pass, I will send these back at your expense for the shipping as many times as we need to until you have learned the skills necessary for you to pass. And I'll tell you exactly what, what's missing. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. So watch and see. And you may want to do the certification, and you can do it in one try. So let's see what I'm looking for. Let's see what I got in. I'm giving these certifications numbers. So this is number 522 and 528. And we have a written test. And I'm going to check and see whether the written test is passed. I like to do that before I do the sharpening, because it kind of tells me what I might expect. Yeah. So he's answered all the questions right. And we have 2 shears here, a convex and a bevel. So without adjusting the screw, I'm going to take it out exactly like it is in the package. I'm going to open it. And lay the dry tissue here. And just close it with the least amount of pressure. Cuts dry. Same thing here. Least amount of pressure. Cuts dry. Cuts wet, slight pull at the tip maybe. Maybe not. Let's see how this one cuts wet. Pull my thumb out, least pressure possible. And that cuts wet. So I would say both of these cut, well, that one had a little bit of a something. Did you see that? But this is a cheap scissor, cheap beveled edge. So I'm going to say both of them pass the cut. Convex. So let's see how they feel. And that's totally subjective. And these scissors are what they are. Has a noise to it, but these are cheap scissors. I'm going to say they feel okay. So that's the bevel, feels okay. Let's see what the convex feels like. I'd say they feel pretty good. These feel really good. Alright, the inside blade on the bevel. What I'm looking for here is if they just remove the burb without trying to work a ride line, because these are real cheap scissors. And I would say this looks good. I'm going to pass them there. Let's see what the inside of this one looks like. We've got a ride line. The ride line is only on the edge. And it's only on the cutting edge. The ride line looks a little wimpy. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. It's this blade. I'm going to come in here. See, that's not the best ride line, but it is quiet and it does cut. It's, like I said, it's a little wimpy. I could ask for it to be a little bit better. But, you know, if I was a grading it, I would say 90%, and I'm not feeling any drag at that part where the ride line's missing, so it could, 90% or B plus or something like that, you know. The outside blade. The outside on the beveled edge looks good. He left the serration where it's serrated without taking, he sharpened it without taking the serration off. I feel a little burr on the outside here, but I'm not happy about, there's some burr that's left on the outside. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, there's a little ridge. Let me show you what I'm talking about. These will pass because the main thing is if they cut. But I mean, there's a little bit of a burr that I would have preferred to have seen him remove it. If I take my nail and I run it up there, see it catches? Can you hear it? I would like to have seen that burr removed. And the same thing on the serrated edge. So, I mean, once again, on the outside blade, you know, I'd say a B, you know. Now, the outside blade on the convex, that's the key. Is it a true convex? And I know this was semi-convex when it went to him. So if he was able to create a true convex, that's some really good work, and if it looks polished. And I would give him an A on that. That looks really nice. I'm going to let you see this. Doesn't that look nice? He's done an excellent job on the outside, on the polish, and on the convexing. So, give him an A on that. So, I'm going to say this person passes and passes. And just a couple of little things that could have been better, but those look good for number 522. Now, and this is 528. Let's see how he's done on his test. Okay, missed this one, number 6. Number 6 is what happens if an edge is over polished. And he put both B and C is tiny nicks are created and snags of hair. If you over polish a blade, you're not going to create tiny tiny nicks. So that one is wrong. Traditional cut test material to see if a shear will push hair. That one's wrong. He answered a wet tissue, and it should be hair, because hair is going to tell you if it pushes hair. That's dry. Cuts dry. See if it cuts wet. Doesn't seem like it cuts wet on either one of those. Let's try it again. Let's try it my other way, where I hold it up. And I pull my thumb out. Not perfect cut. Could cut better. We'll figure out why when we examine it closer why it doesn't cut as well. Okay, I'm taking my thumb out. Oops. My hand slipped. See? That's not a good clean cut for wet. See, it's raggedy. So, it does not cut. The cut, dry, but not wet. Dry, but not wet. How do they feel? Doesn't feel bad. See how these feel. These are little cheap scissors. So, little snippy, but I'm going to say they're okay. Now let's look at the inside blade. On the beveled edge, look okay. Because what I'm looking for here is if someone tried to go in and do a ride line when they're not designed for that. So that's all I'm looking for here. Let's look and see what the ride line looks on here. And that ride line once again looks pretty wimpy. I think it's almost gone. It is there. It is there. But that is a very thin ride line, especially back in here. You see, it's almost, you might as well say it's not even there. So I'm going to give that ride line a C. And the tip's a little wiped out too. Can you see that? But that could be the scissor, so I'm not going to judge him for that. But I don't think he's worked that ride line well enough. So that's the ride line. Be maybe a C plus or something like that. Very subjective what I'm doing here. Now, here's another thing I'm seeing. Can you see how so much more metal was taken off the tip here and taken off there? I'll hold this up to the camera and you might be able to see it better. One of the blades is definitely skinnier than the other blade. You see that? But not big. That's just an observation. I'm just going to put that down as a comment. One blade is more pointy. And the outside blade. Now the last one, remember he left a burr on the outside. I'm looking at the outside blade. I'm looking to see if he left the serrations on here, which he did. And checking to see if the nicks are gone. The nicks are gone that I put in there. And I'm looking to see if that angle looks consistent. And there's no burr on the outside. So I'm not sure why these aren't cutting wet like they should, but I'm going to say they pass because it looks good. So he's got an A there, and we're going to say the beveled edge pass. Let's see what's going on these convex edge. Not bad. I see a little dip like right here and right here, and that's real common. A lot of sharpeners leave that dip, and you don't really get into trouble until after you've been sharpening it a few times. Now I want you to look at this, and you're going to see the difference between this shear and the other one. Do you see how that convex looks like it's more like a little bevel? He didn't give a really good true convex. And I think your hairstylist would be happy with these shears and probably not complain, but I would like to see him do a little bit better on this one. Not necessarily the beveled edge one, but the convex edge one. Let's just see for the fun of it how it cuts hair. It's pushing a little bit. Did y'all see that? See, it's kind of a little bit of a push. See, it's pushing. Let's see how number 522's cuts. It's pushing too. Yeah, it's got a little bit of push. So on this one, to prevent the pushing, he might have polished a little bit too close to the edge in trying to get that nice shine and the convex shape. But as I said, these are cheap scissors. All the nicks are gone. And as I said, I'm going to say this one passes. It does a slight push. Maybe put slight push. I need to make sure I keep these together so that this one, if he wants me to send it back, I will. What I would like to see on this one is a more truer convex, and then it should be able to cut wet tissue. I'm more concerned in how these convex edge shears are going to cut than I am the beveled edge ones. See that? How it's pushing? And then at the tip, see it how it jumps out? So, let's see if he can improve on that. And I like to put my thumb here. They feel nice and sharp, so it feels like he's done them at a 45-degree angle. I can still feel maybe a little bit of a nick there. I don't know. Maybe not. There's a on number 522, he's left a little nick behind here. And a little nick right back there. Slight push, small nick. 522, I'm going to say he passes. The 528, let's have him do the convex edge again, and we'll pass the bevel edge. I'm not expecting a lot out of the bevel edge. So, but I'd like to see him step it up and do a little bit better. As I said, I don't think any hairstylist that would complain with this sharpening, but we want to have them best.
Yep, okay.
So that's it for the ISSA certification evaluation for number 522 and 528.